Welcome to Deafness and Visual Impairment Successful Transition, Getting It Right from the Start. This session is being delivered by advisory teachers for deafness and visual impairment from the Richard Cloudesley Outreach Service. It will support you and your colleagues with ensuring pupils with hearing and/or visual needs experience successful transitions throughout their education. All pupils will experience significant changes at key transition points during their education. This includes moving from home or nursery into primary school, from primary to secondary school, and from secondary to post-16 provisions. These transitions can put enormous demands on pupils socially, emotionally, academically, and practically, and some will find the transition more difficult than others. A positive transition for those with hearing and/or visual needs can mean the difference between floundering and flourishing. Therefore, it is crucial to get it right and ensure supporting the transition is a key priority. So what can you and your colleagues do to ensure transitions are successful?
Meet the pupils. Here are two pupils with special educational needs who, like all children and young people, will experience key transition points during their time in education. Let's meet the pupils and find out some more about them. Anna. Anna has bilateral moderate sensorineural deafness. This means her deafness is permanent on both sides and she requires hearing aids to hear and understand speech in everyday life. Anna's hearing status means she will have difficulty hearing the teacher's voice in noise, so will benefit from an assistive listening device, as well as her hearing aids at school. This will help to improve her access to the teacher's voice instead of the background noise. George. George has a diagnosis of ocular albinism with nystagmus. This is a genetic condition which causes vision problems, including poor visual acuity. It is present from birth and doesn't get worse over time. Ocular albinism causes a lack of pigmentation in the iris and retina in the eye. The pigment melanin plays a role in normal vision. The lack of pigmentation causes symptoms that affect vision. Nystagmus is a condition that causes uncontrolled, constant, rapid movement of the eyes. George not only has reduced close and distance vision, but is also photophobic, which means he is very sensitive to bright light.
Anna has been at nursery for a year and has. Understandably, both Anna and George's parents are concerned about the transition to primary school and want to ensure the new settings are aware of their needs. Anna's father has shared that he wants to ensure Anna continues to make good progress in reception and her teacher is aware of her hearing needs and able to manage her hearing aids. George's mother has stated that she is really worried about him starting school, as his teacher won't know him or understand his needs like the nursery does. Also, she is concerned about the size of the class and number of pupils.
It is important for information about the special educational needs of pupils to be shared with new settings. Therefore, the nurseries supporting Anna and George need to ensure they have been in contact with the SENCO at the primary school, if appropriate arrange a transition meeting which includes their parents, specialists supporting their needs and staff from their new school, informed their supporting advisory teacher about the move to the new setting, shared any relevant educational or medical reports and support plans with the primary school SENCO, contacted their parents regularly to keep them informed and updated about the plan and support in place for their transition to primary school. Once Anna and George's primary schools are aware of them and their needs, they should begin planning for their arrival and starting in reception class. The advisory teacher supporting their hearing or visual need will be able to provide strategies and advice to the school on how best to support them. This will include advice on seating, classroom layout, and the use of material and resources. We will discuss the key strategies to support pupils with hearing and/or visual needs later in the session.
Primary school to secondary school. Anna and George are now in year 6 and after enjoying their time at primary school are preparing to start secondary school. Understandably, they are both feeling anxious and excited about the transition to a new school. During her time at primary school, Anna was supported by her advisory teacher to manage her hearing aids and assistive listening device independently. It was explained to Anna that at secondary school she will need to carry her assistive listening device with her throughout the day, hand it to teachers at the start of each lesson, and collect it back at the end. Anna is due to start at a local secondary school for girls that has experience of supporting pupils with various hearing needs. George is joining a large 7-form entry secondary school. His advisory teacher has suggested that he would benefit from support from a habilitation specialist to learn the journey to school, either by foot or using public transport, as well as navigating himself around the larger school environment. George was able to visit the new school with his advisory teacher to begin to learn the layout and was provided with a map of the setting. Thoughts from parents. Like when they were transitioning to primary school, both Anna and George's parents have concerns about the move to secondary school and want to ensure the needs of their children are well supported. Each set of parents have shared that they feel more anxious about this transition than the previous one. Anna's mother has said how pleased she is with Anna's ability to manage her hearing equipment independently, but is worried that some girls at the school might say something about this to Anna and bully her for being different. George's mother shared that while she is concerned about the size of the secondary school and George being able to independently find his way around, she feels confident that he will do well and be supported.
As previously mentioned, it is important for information about the special educational needs of pupils to be shared with their new setting. Like the previous transition checklist, the primary school SENCOs supporting Anna and George will need to ensure they have been in contact with the SENCO at the secondary school, if appropriate, arranged a transition meeting which includes their parents, specialists supporting their needs, and staff from their new school, arranged to attend the primary to secondary transition conference, informed their supporting advisory teacher about which secondary school they will be moving to, shared any relevant data, educational and/or medical reports and support plans, including their hearing or vision support plan produced by their advisory teacher with the secondary school SENCO, supported any transition visits to the new school, been in contact with their parents on a regular basis to ensure they are well informed and updated about the transition plan to secondary school. When Anna and George's secondary schools have received the relevant information from their primary schools, they will need to consider the key strategies to implement to support their special educational needs. The advisory teachers supporting them will liaise with their secondary school SENCO and offer advice on how to best support their hearing or visual needs. Again, this will include advice on areas such as seating and the use of resources, as well as beginning to incorporate the pupil's voice into the support they receive. We will discuss the key strategies to support pupils with hearing and/or visual needs later in the session.
As Anna and George move through secondary school and work towards completing their Year 11 examinations, they will think about their futures and the transition to sixth form or college. Anna has had a positive experience at secondary school and is expected to gain good grades in her examinations. With continued support from her advisory teacher, Anna is now confident at managing her hearing aids and knows when it is appropriate to use her assistive listening device. Anna is thinking about becoming a teacher in the future, so is planning on moving to college to complete A-levels. She is excited about the change of setting and is happy that some of her friends are also planning on attending the same college. George enjoyed secondary school and is looking forward to completing his examinations and joining the school's sixth form. At the start of secondary school, it took George a while to become familiar with the layout of secondary school and confident with moving around independently, but with continued support from his advisory teacher and an habilitation specialist, he overcame these barriers. George hasn't decided which career he would like to do in the future, but has chosen to transition to sixth form with his friends. Now that Anna and George are in Year 11 and about to transition to post-16 provisions, they are able enough to share their thoughts regarding the transition. Anna has spoken about her increased confidence in managing her hearing needs and equipment. Over time, she has developed the courage to discuss her hearing needs with her friends and teachers and is now able to speak about it openly. Anna is anxious about making new friends and having to share information about her hearing needs with them. George shared how happy and comfortable he now feels within his secondary school environment, as he acknowledges that he didn't always feel like this. George has made some good friends who are supportive of his visual needs. He is excited about joining the school's sixth form as he knows the teachers well and they have a good understanding of his needs.
Successful transition checklist. As Anna and George are in Year 11 and transitioning to post-16 provisions, they, along with their secondary school SENCOs, need to ensure they have been in contact with the Student Support Department of the post-16 provision, if appropriate, arranged or attended a transition meeting, which includes their parents, specialists supporting their needs, and staff from their new provision. Informed their supporting advisory teacher about which post-16 provision they will be attending. Shared any relevant data, educational and/or medical reports and support plans, including their hearing or vision support plan produced by their advisory teacher with the post-16 provision. Supported or attended any transition visits to the setting. Ensured their parents have been kept informed and updated about the transition to the new provision.
As previously mentioned, the advisory teacher supporting a pupil with hearing or visual needs can offer advice and guidance with implementing key strategies that will support the pupil's access to learning. The following key strategies can be adapted to support pupils in nursery, primary school, secondary school, or post-16 settings. Seating. Where a pupil with hearing and/or visual needs sits in the classroom will impact upon their ability to access the learning. It is important for pupils with hearing needs to be able to hear and understand what the teacher is saying, so they would benefit from sitting nearer to them and being able to see their face clearly. Where possible, the pupil should also be able to see other speakers. Pupils with visual impairment should always be seated at the front of the classroom so that they are able to access information. If their distance vision is severely reduced, they may not be able to access visual information even when seated at the front. They may need remote access via an iPad or laptop. Teachers should check that the pupil is able to see by testing them rather than asking, as their general response is, "It's fine." During shared reading, the pupil will need to sit near the reader so that they can see the book or have a copy of the book for them to look at. This will help support their concentration and engagement. Pupils with hearing and/or visual needs often rely on their friends or the person sitting next to them for support and will copy information without thinking or checking it is correct. When participating in PE or practical sessions, it is important to be aware of the pupil with hearing and/or visual needs position, as if they are standing away from the teacher, then they will not be able to hear or see what is happening and will struggle to follow the lesson. Noise levels. Background noise and distractions must be well managed so that everyone in the classroom, including those with hearing and/or visual needs, are able to listen and learn. Pupils with hearing needs will find it difficult to listen, concentrate, and understand what is being said if the background noise level is too high. Similarly, pupils with visual impairments often rely on their hearing to engage and access information, so it is important that background noise levels are reduced. The use of quiet areas or spaces within or outside the classroom can be useful for those pupils that need time to process information or who become overwhelmed and need some time out to self-regulate. Classroom layout. It is important that the classroom environment is ordered and clutter-free, and the layout of furniture is kept the same so that a pupil with visual impairment can navigate their way around safely. If the pupil has a coat peg or locker, then these should be at the end of a row with a clear label so that they can be easily found. Beware of trip hazards. Ensure bags are stored under tables and chairs and stools are tucked in. Smaller group sizes will make access easier. Once again, the pupil with visual impairment will need to familiarise themselves with a new, busier environment and may require support from an habilitation specialist. Also, consider the layout of tables and chairs for pupils with hearing needs and where they are positioned. As previously stated, it is important for them to be able to clearly see the face of a speaker, whether that be in a whole class or small group situation.
Visual support. The use of visual aids is supportive for all pupils, including those with hearing and/or visual needs. Pupils with hearing needs can struggle to develop their speech and communication skills, so the use of visual aids to support new vocabulary and language can be very helpful. Labelling spaces and resources with words and pictures or photographs and using signs or gestures to support speech are useful techniques to use within the classroom. Any specific resources for pupils with visual impairments should be provided in the required print size, e.g. N36 bold. Otherwise, they will struggle to read and identify the information on the page. Also, information should be high contrast with minimum amount of visual clutter. It is important that information about preferred print size, colours, etc. is shared with all subject teachers. Any video resources shown to the class should have a good balance of auditory and visual information so that all pupils are able to access them. Many visually impaired pupils will say that they don't watch videos, they just listen to them. Light. The lighting within a classroom should be conducive to conversation and interaction. Good lighting is required for pupils with hearing needs that rely on being able to clearly see the face of the speaker to hear and understand what is being said. Pupils with visual needs can require effective blinds or blackout resources in the classroom to prevent glare and photophobia. Task lighting may be needed in some situations. Materials and resources. Materials and resources to support the speech, language and communication development of pupils with hearing needs should be available within the classroom. These might include visual aids or recording devices to capture group discussions in a tutorial. Any equipment or resource that supports reduced vision can be used, such as large print books, real objects and technology such as iPads or laptops. Resources such as Google Classroom are great for visually impaired pupils as it allows them to enlarge information on their laptop. Also, RNIB Bookshare allows pupils to upload key text onto their laptops in their preferred print size. Pupils with hearing and/or visual needs have shared that they find it useful to receive PowerPoints in advance of lessons.
Here are links to additional resources you may find useful when planning transitions. If you have any questions regarding transitions or want to refer a pupil, please contact our team or one of our advisory teachers directly.